Hey Gemini, welcome to June. So Gemini, this month you say goodbye to the planet Jupiter, the planet of luck and blessings and expansion. It's a planet of spirituality. It was originally considered the ruler of Pisces until Neptune was discovered, and it's always been associated with the sign Sagittarius. Jupiter was hanging out in your sign for the past year, since last May. And it was right across from, it's across from Sagittarius. Gemini, you are always across from Sagittarius in the zodiac. And I was thinking about how big that can make things because I'm a Gemini moon and I've been looking back at the past year and I don't feel like the planet of luck and blessings was in my sign. It doesn't feel like that this past year. It felt like a really big obstacle year. And I was wondering, how could that be when Jupiter was in my, with my moon sign? But I'm thinking of Jupiter makes everything bigger, right? We went through a major Venus retrograde this past year and a Mars retrograde and a Mercury retrograde. So I think that Jupiter, my opinion of Jupiter being in Gemini is considered a detrimental position to the planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, it has such benevolence to it that it's not considered to even really have a bad placement, although it does bring an expansion. And sometimes that's not great when we're talking about, maybe our hips and our thighs, or we're talking about, the lack of something. We don't want it to be bigger. So my personal opinion about Jupiter in Gemini is I don't think that we got the full wonderful effects of it as much as we will as it moves into Cancer, because Cancer is its exalted position. It's its absolute best position for Jupiter. Now, this means good things for some of you late degree Geminis, you June Geminis, because you're still pretty close to Jupiter in the early degrees of Cancer. So I think it's actually really going to help you, and it's going to bring a little bit more of that luck that it's known for, right? Jupiter's often called the guardian angel of the tarot. And so we can look forward to things like having someone looking out for us, having things land into place, okay? So I think you're actually going to enjoy Jupiter in the sign of Cancer even a little bit more than in your own sign. And Jupiter won't be back to you for another 12 years, so interesting times. Now, the sun stays in the sign of Gemini till June 20th. It will be conjunct Jupiter the last week of the month. So I think the last week of the month for you is going to be a fabulous one. Now, you have a trine with Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, the planet of power, death and rebirth. Remember, it rules other people's money, it rules sex, it rules all the deep emotions. So you got this powerful trine going on. And so Gemini, you're not going to have to question what's going to need to change, because you're going to be able to see it and you're going to be able to work with it in a more smooth fashion with a trine, because a trine is a positive aspect. So that's going to go on for like 19 years. So enjoy that. Now, let's see what else. You, Gemini, you make a sextile with the two signs ahead of you, which would be, what's the two signs ahead of you? Leo. And then the two signs behind you, which would be Aries. You always make a sextile with those signs. Those sextiles, a positive, like flowing aspect, like almost like a trine. And so you're going to have this flowing positive energy with the planet Neptune that just moved into Aries, and with the planet Saturn that just moved into Aries. Now, I kind of like this placement of these two planets together. They've been together for a while, but they were in Pisces, which made things cloudier. Now they're in Aries. So we can really take action in things like our healing, in things like our creative expression. These things are really going to be able to take some forward energy. Now, Mars, the planet of action, is hanging out in the sign of Leo until June 17th. So this is a sextile to you. Once it moves into Virgo on the 17th, it's squaring you. Okay. So take advantage of the beginning of the month to really get some things done. Then your luck kind of kicks in towards the end of the month. Now, what else do we have? Mercury is going to move. Mercury, the planet of communication, will also move into Leo towards the end of the month, June 26th. It's going to stay there until September 2nd. And that's because of the Mercury retrograde. So we'll have an extended period of Mercury in the sign of Leo, the heart-based sign. And so that's going to be a beautiful sextile energy for you. Now, the moon is in your sign of Gemini on Sunday, June 22nd, 10:57 p.m., and it'll stay there until Tuesday, June 24th at 11:44 p.m. Often find when the moon is in my own sign, whether it be sun, moon, or rising, often feel pretty good. So please take note if that's the case for you. So let's get some cards out here. I got some great decks going on. This is my new favorite deck, the Magical Hours. I love everything about it, even the backs of the cards. And let's pull a couple cards for you to see what you need to know this month of June. Now, remember, June is a great time because all those personal planet retrogrades have ended. We've come out of the shadow period of them all. So we've probably learned a lot about ourselves. We probably learned a lot about money, because I think that was a big one through the Venus retrograde, and value. And now, yes, Pluto's in retrograde, but as I talked about in the June month ahead, the outer planets are always in retrograde. One of them always is. And those are the generational planets. And so I personally look more at the retrogrades of the personal planets, the ones that are closer, that affect more of our everyday life. So in that regards, things should be a little smoother right now. Let's see what your first card is. You got the Hierophant here. And this is a cool version of the Hierophant because it's like a young woman, and you don't often see the Hierophant as someone young because it's usually about wisdom and spirituality and connection. It's usually a priest. But here is this woman, and she looks very powerful. And I like how these guys down here are holding these eyes up, the eye of protection. And so the Hierophant wants you to connect higher, to question your spirituality. The Hierophant's also a great advisor, and it's card number 5. 5 is a number of change, okay? So starting off strong with a major arcana, I like to call those the fated cards, the lessons that we came here to learn. Now, let's see what else we've got here. We've got the Ace of Rods. So we've got fresh energy, an ace, a 1 in the fire sign. Rods is fire. And so aces I think of as really lucky, and something new is showing up. And I like that it's showing up out of the clouds, which feels very Pisces-like to me. And if you remember, like all those planets that were in Pisces for so long, now we move into Aries, and it's like, here you go, we can see. And with Saturn and Neptune close to each other, we can really take our dreams and we can make them into a reality, because Saturn has responsibility, right? Neptune on its own can be cloudy and creative, but we might not ever actually produce something. And now we have the ability to do that with Saturn close by. Let's see what our card number 3 is, the Page of Cups. So pretty. It's just like sitting on that fish, drinking her tea. Page of Cups, really creative energy. Pages are young energy. Cups is emotional satisfaction. And so we've got some playful energy there. Almost like playful but responsible. Playful and spiritual. Okay, and let's see what your oracle is. And it's a trust card, and it says, does it say full moon? Egg moon. I don't know what an egg moon is. It looks a little bit shaped like an egg. And what is going on inside that bubble? Can't even really tell. Oh, it looks like, is that 2 people hugging in there? Okay, let's see. Let's see what the book says about that. This is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. This is card number 32. It says, Egg Moon, trust yourself deeply. Self-trust and joy will follow. You can rely on your own capabilities. Begin to plan carefully for the future. Self-trust is far more than a flashy show of confidence. It is deeper and farther reaching than that. It is security at the very core, that no matter what, our wisdom matters and is best. It allows for flow and for faith in oneself and the way you do things, in things moving and choosing in the world. Self-trust is a full acceptance of self. Okay, so it's almost like I can't really quite see in there, but it's almost like I think she's like almost like hugging herself. So when we think of an egg, we think of like fertile energy. And I kept saying about June that it has fertile energy. And that doesn't have to be baby fertile. That could just be fertile for the fresh ideas that you have, for the things that you want to put into motion. Okay, so let's move these to the back. And what we're going to do is we are going to pick a card for each week. And we are working with our little everyday witch minis because they're so cute. And we're going to go with 5 weeks here for the month of June. And let's see what you need to know here. Okay, week 1. The week of the 1st. And we've got the Knight of Wands showing up. And he's the bad boy of the tarot deck. And he Knight's Quest. Wands is fire. So there's some full speed ahead movement. He's going to like battle that dragon up there. Knight of Wands. Get out there, have fun. All these planets moving into Aries, going to give us some get up and go. Also Mars and Leo. So we got a lot of fire planets. Here's the 5 of Cups showing up in week 2. 5, a number of change. Cups is emotions. Looks like there's been some kind of emotional loss here. But look at the party's waiting for you. It's right behind you. So maybe you need to have a good cry week 2, but we see that there are still other things that are working out. This is Father's Day week, and you've got the 3 of Pentacles, which kind of shows like a classroom setting, learning, collaborating with others, landing on Father's Day. So maybe that's a good idea for dad. Maybe find some cool thing that he wants to do. And it's almost like a painting class, something fun. Okay, now 22nd week ahead, the Ace of Cups. Great to see the Ace of Cups because it's a cup of satisfaction. So nice card to head off your week. And then your last week, which starts at the 29th, goes into July 4th week. And you got the 4 of Wands, and it's a celebration card. So it looks like a party, okay? So it looks like the month, remember I said Jupiter kind of, what did I say about the end of the month? There was better energy for you at the end of the month. So we see it here. We see the Ace of Cups. We see the 4 of Wands, savoring what's going on. But not bad overall. Just week 2, maybe a little bit of sadness going on there. But once you shift your perspective, you'll be able to see that there's still a lot of positivity for you. All right, I just want to pull one more card and see if there's anything else that I missed here for you, Gemini. Is there anything else Gemini needs to know? What's the most important thing they need to know? And here's the 8 of Swords kind of leaping out of the deck. So just keep in mind that these are all thoughts and they can bind us and they can hold us, but they're not necessarily true. And Gemini, you're an air sign and you have a tendency to, a lot of times when I see people like tapping their foot or tapping, like can't sit still, I often feel that they're Gemini, and they usually are. Sometimes it'll be Sagittarius, but it's usually Gemini. Gemini's an air sign. It's known for thinking. It's like the child mind. I can say that I'm a Gemini moon. We're like the child mind of the zodiac. We want to do this, and we're scattered in a million different ways. And so just remember that a lot of these thoughts that are going through your head, they're not, if they're negative, they're not all true. Okay, most of these things aren't going to happen. And this is a card of thinking you're stuck when you're free. Okay, and I see a lot of freedom energy in this reading. I see a lot of freedom with the Knight of Wands and all this joy at the end of the month. Okay, so let's roll some dice and see what you need to know here. And then we're going to do some charms. Let's see what we've got dice-wise. You've got Jupiter in the sign of Aries in the 6th house, which is Virgo's house. So when we're talking about Jupiter in the sign of Aries, Jupiter being such a planet of luck, let's see. Aries is an okay placement for Jupiter. And in the 6th house, so Aries likes to take action and Aries likes to redefine itself. And the 6th house is the house of health, wellness, service, contribution. Okay, so you might want to take some action with your health. You may, since Aries rules the head, right? So in some ways you can think of the brain, right? Because it's it's like development. Like Aries is your childhood, even though Gemini is like the child mind. Aries is the formation of the human. And so I kind of get that maybe this is a good time for like a little mental health checkup, maybe going back into therapy, and not being afraid to just take some action. Things will get really lucky for you. And you can luck out in the health department, and you can also show up and be of service for others. I kind of get that. Like this Three of Pentacles is what comes up for me when I think of these dice. Almost like maybe that's volunteering, helping out. You know, maybe dad would like that. Maybe you volunteer for some veterans or something like that. Okay. All right. Now let's do the charms. My big bowl of charms here. This is the fun part. We're just looking for anything that really makes sense to you, anything that seems to make sense to you. If you see initials, anything like that. See what we've got here. And I think the fun part is me getting to throw them all over the room here. Okay, now let's flip these and see what letters we have and see if you can make any names out of anything. PLLP. Do I see anything? I see the word fore, Fore. Isn't that like a golf term? I see the word fire. I saw a lot of fire energy. Lore, like folklore, Lore. All right, let's start at the top. We have a star up here with the letter R. And let's see, on the 3rd, we have a little reference to Mother Mary. We have a fairy, and we have an ice skate. Okay, so it's kind of got mom energy, and it's got fun energy there too. And the star and the fairy kind of feel Aquarius to me, almost like your hopes and your dreams. So the 3rd of June looks like a chock full day to me. The 4th, you've got a little wagon, horse-drawn wagon. So maybe you're going to take some action on the 4th. Maybe there's a little road trip. Over here on the 8th, I have a little castle. And on the 9th, a little battleship, the letter I on the 3rd. And on the 11th, we have boxing glove. It says title. Okay, so just making sure on the 11th, not, we don't want to get into fights and arguments with people. We already know we had like this card of sadness this week. Oh, we have a battleship, and we have some indications of fighting. Okay, we want to watch that. We have the letter O on the 13th, Friday the 13th, and a little pentacle there on the 14th. Now, let's see. On the 18th, you have a screwdriver. And the 19th, this is another Mary. Mother Mary. I have a lot of these religious ones I bought somewhere along the way. This is like a family crest here. And this is Father's Day week. Interesting, the screwdriver. It's almost like we were talking about taking a class, maybe working on some kind of project together. First day of summer, family crest. Okay, we have a quartz crystal on the 23rd, which quartz enhances. It's like a booster. We have 25, we have an E. On the 28th, we have an F with a rose next to it. This would be the 1st of July, you have a P, and on the 2nd, you have an L. I feel like the word place, or LP. There's also an airplane and the number 6. So maybe you have actually, it's funny, I do have people flying in on that day. And so maybe you have visitors also. Maybe you're going somewhere. And over here you have a train. So almost like vehicles of travel. You have an airplane, a carriage, a train, a battleship, ice skates. There's a lot of movement, okay? And then you got the word fire. So make the most of this forward moving energy. Let me give you some dates here. Power days. I already told you when the moon is going to be in your sign. But let's give you a few more because you did roll Jupiter. And Jupiter rules the sign Sagittarius, and the moon moves into Sagittarius on Monday, June 9th at 10:56 a.m. And it stays there the 10th. This is where we had some of this feisty energy, 9th, 10th, 11th. And then that's the full moon in Sagittarius on the 11th with that boxing glove. Moon stays in Sagittarius until 9:55 p.m. on the 11th Eastern Standard Time. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm a Sag sun. Sometimes we're known for putting our foot in our mouth. So just take it easy, watch your words, don't get into arguments. Full moons are always feisty. Now, you also rolled the sign Aries, and the moon will be in Aries. Let's see, that's the end of May. When will it be in June? It starts on Wednesday, June 18th at 7:08 p.m. It stays there the 19th and the 20th until 9:53 p.m. And then I'm just going to give you one more set of dates, which is when the moon is in Virgo, because you rolled the 6th house. And the moon moves into Virgo Sunday, the 1st of June, 11 p.m. It stays there the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th until 9:38 p.m. These are power times for you. Thanks for joining me.